Hi, everybody. Welcome to Application Now. I'm here today with Sonal, who's joining me for like about 20 minutes of career consultation. I am professor at Cal State Fullerton. I have a company that helps job seekers called Application Owl in applicationowl.com. I also have been working at Google for the past decade in program management, and have worked also before in the computer science field for maybe a decade and a half more. So maybe, Sonal, you can tell us a bit about yourself and what brings you to this episode.
Okay, so hello everyone. I am an international graduate student. I'm pursuing my master's in computer engineering from Cal State Fullerton only. And like I'm here for my resume review, and like basically I've seen many the resume review by him, and I liked it. And like I would like to know where I'm going wrong, and like how can I start my journey over here in US. And I have few experience in Python, AI/ML, and everything. And I have already like tailored few times my resume, but I'm not getting any response from the company. So yeah, I would like to go ahead with that.
Okay. And are you applying to internships or full-time?
Right now, I'm applying to full time.
You're applying to full-time. Now, are you available currently for full-time?
Yeah, I'm graduating in May 2025, so I will be available after that.
Excellent. And can you tell us just a bit about what are you looking for?
Like I'm looking for like how can I alter my resume to get a job? Like I have the experience in AI/ML. Like if I will talk about my passion, I have my passion in AI/ML and Python, Llama, Gen AI, and everything. I have my certification in that, like including Azure AI as well. But when I'm applying to the jobs, I'm not getting any response from them. And like when I was back in India, I had my experience in automation testing, and like when I was here doing the summer internships, so I have had experience for like the front end thing, including Docker, little bit of Docker. Like I just did for 1 week. So I want to know how can I alter my resume, tailor my resume for the different positions, and get a response from the company when I'm
Okay.
going wrong actually.
So before we figure out that you're doing wrong, let's evaluate this. I would say for students who apply, usually an interview rate that I found, at least for my students, which in the same college as you, applying to similar positions, is maybe 5 to 15%, like 5 to 15%, maybe something about 10%, 8% of the jobs they apply, they get a recruiter call. Can you tell us how many positions have you applied to?
Like my daily target is like applying at least 10 jobs. So from January, I can say like around 600 around I have done already.
Okay, so you applied to 600 jobs. How many of you heard back to get, how many of them you had a call with the recruiter?
I got 2 calls till now, and like few online assessment and like the quants assessment or like the lead code thing.
Okay, so something like 1 in 300. So this is very low. Now, if you have a low conversion rate, in general, when you're thinking about the process, there could be 3 kind of major reasons. One, maybe the experience has some gaps compared to the position that you're applying to. That could be one. 2 is that you don't have the right artifact. Right artifacts mean like your resume, what you send is not the best. And the third is that maybe you apply to through channels, maybe without a referral, maybe to a position that is kind of highly sought of, maybe at a location that you're not in. Maybe they think they might need to relocate you. So that could be a third explanation. Now, how many years of experience do you have?
I have 2 years of experience.
And those are software engineering experience?
Not particularly software, it was testing, automation testing.
Okay, automation testing is a branch of software engineering. I would not say it's not software engineering. It's some software engineers, they do testing. So I think it's probably not the fact that Your experience is not something that maybe would justify 1 in 300. You also go to fine university, I teach it too. So either the position that you're targeting, maybe something is off there, or the resume that you have, maybe something is off there. Now, I haven't seen your resume. This is the first time that I'm going to see it. So it's going to be also a surprise for me. Can you share your resume? Just show it on the screen.
Sure. Please let me know once it is available, like once it is visible to you.
Yeah, you can share it in like full screen.
Do you want it to like?
Yeah, the font is a bit okay. So you got your education on the top. Can you zoom it a bit closer? Just for viewers and for me as well. You can do it like fit page. Okay.
Is this good?
It's like, or you could just zoom. Zoom works too, till it kind of fits the page. Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things that I see. You are applying to a full-time job. Now, your education is on the top. Your education is on the top. When I say education, I assume that you don't have work experience, because the work experience, if you see, it's called below the fold. So when I Zoom, people like me, which are older, and some hiring managers are a bit older. By the way, I'll give you a recording of all of this, so you don't have to take notes. They imagine somebody looking at your resume just immediately. You don't have work experience looking at this resume. That's one issue. Because you see, you have education, then you have technical skills, and then you have projects. The work experience is below the fold, and it doesn't actually say work experience, it's an experience. Okay?
Yep.
So in the experience, it says graduate assistant student. So when I read this, it looks like you have no work experience, but you just said that you have 2 years work of experience in software engineering. And I think that's a shame. But you see how people might miss it. Remember, the people that read your resume are very tired. I have a friend, he works at the companies. When he hired somebody, after filtering, he got 2,500 applications. So just imagine somebody trying to quickly just figuring out what's going on. So the first thing, your work experience doesn't jump out. The second thing is, if this is your resume, it looks very unprofessional. You see why? Like, for example, take the bullets. You see that the bullets indentation and your indentation is all over the place? So that's another thing that's a bit of a red flag, because imagine that you're interviewing a person, okay? I'm interviewing a person and I'm looking at the resume, not interview, sorry, like looking at the resume. Immediately I see that this person did not put a lot of effort in the resume. So what does it tell me about their personality? I'm not saying that your personality is not one that did not put effort. I'm just saying this is what I get from it. Okay?
Yep.
Let's continue. Okay? Another thing that jumps out is that if you will zoom a bit, imagine that people zoom on the top, because in many cases that's what happened. People don't print out and they have like tiny laptops. So usually they will just read it like this. A lot of people, by the way, in the US, they don't wear glasses. I personally wear glasses. I mean, I don't wear now, but they don't wear glasses. And if you're above 40, you would usually not see fine print. So what it means is that usually when you put a resume, you'll just look at the top. And I think it's important to put the relevant information at the top. I look at the top here. You said that you're interested in AI and ML and Llama and other things, okay?
Yep.
What tells me that?
What tells me that? I didn't get your question, sorry.
When I look on the screen, which part here should tell me that you're passionate for AI and ML?
This is for software developer. I can show you the another one.
No, but let's assume that's okay. Let's for the purpose of this session, we're going to critique this resume.
So you can see these two projects, if this makes sense to you, like hospital service cost prediction and the e-commerce case analysis. Over here, I have like mentioned tools like Python, Seaborn, Matplotlib, machine learning, all are like leveraging, like all using AI/ML, I could say. And then over here as well, like Python and then Matplotlib, and like I have seen 50% improvement in
I
prediction
understand.
accuracy.
It does not jump out. So one thing that I would recommend is to put a summary or something that you're very clear immediately that you have not applied in random. Remember, today there are places that just blast your resume to like 2,000 places, the same resume. How do I know that this resume wasn't just like kind of like a blast of somebody who just submitted 2,000 resumes? The way that I know it is the summary looks like this person is looking like something that they apply to. But in this case, the summary or the top spots does not clearly say that you're interested in like an AI role, because you have education that does not say that you're interested in AI role. Then you have technical skills. The top one is programming languages that does not say anything about AI. And then you have hospital service, cost prediction, no AI there. And then you write Python, Seaborn, Matplots. Now you maybe machine learning, so maybe you have like, one phrase, one term, and then you write SQL and API. So it doesn't kind of jumps out the fact that you're interested in that role. And remember, you're competing with people that are committed to the AI path. And that's one of the things that does not jump out. Let's continue. Now, when you go down to experience, okay, you're right. One of the things is like you have work experience of 2 years, okay?
Yeah.
It's not clear from this resume that you actually have work experience of 2 years. Like you would have to really dig in. Remember, a person is reviewing your resume together with like thousands of others. They have to like really think about it. The second, look at the title. What does the title say?
Analyst.
How do I know that this is software engineering? Now, in many companies, there are titles that are not standard for the other industries. For example, you might be called, I don't know, ninja or something. But what you're actually doing is software engineering. Now, you don't want to misrepresent what you've done. However, if you see what you actually wrote, okay, utilize Python, create and implement data analysis solution, ensuring compliance, benchmark, design and expanded Python-based status automation. So I would say maybe software engineer test, something along those lines. You can play a bit, but analyst doesn't really represent this. So it's not clear that you actually worked on software if the title is analyst. Okay? So that is another thing. Okay? I'm thinking another thing that I see here is that I would recommend for ATS and also for recruiters to have standard sections. Okay. For example, hackathon is not a standard section. Okay. Hackathon could be projects that you've done, could be achievements, but there is no section called hackathon.
No.
Okay. So another thing that I would say in the resume is you want to fit with standard sections, because a standard section will make sure that your resume can be parsed using automatic system. And in addition, the recruiter quickly can figure out the sections of what they're looking for. Okay?
Okay.
Now, few more things I think in the resume. What is the font size?
9.
The font size of the text, not the 8. Way too small. Again, in the US, a lot of people, a lot of hiring managers are older, my age, they have glasses. They often do not wear glasses, like short-sighted. They start to be like short-sighted. They don't wear glasses, and they just don't read well 8, especially today with everybody have like phones and MacBook Air and all of that. So I would recommend never smaller than 10, because it's just going to be unreadable for people. Okay. Now, let's continue. So I think we said a lot of things. Just a couple of other things, if you can scroll up. Now, you are looking for a full-time job, correct? When you write, that's another thing to take into consideration. When you write Fullerton, California, let's say that you apply to a company in Nashville, Tennessee. Right?
Yep.
What would they think reading Fullerton, California? That they need to relocate you. So it's a standard in many companies, okay, that when you're applying for a full-time and somebody's giving you an offer and they're interested in you, they give you relocation. Okay?
Yep.
Now, you do live now in Fullerton, and you cannot remove it. But when people search, they're looking for people that are local, because why do you need to relocate when there is 2,000 people? So there are kind of two strategies to go about that. One strategy that I maybe recommend less is like you could just write like open to relocation or something like that. I don't like it. What I usually say is that if you apply, let's say, to Nashville, Tennessee, and you're thinking that's an amazing place and you want to live there, move there, and you expect no relocation and your availability is going to be soon, just you can write Nashville. So what it means is if it's a place that you're going to move to and you're applying to jobs there, you don't need to write your home address or anything. So imagine that this is what the recruiter will see. Okay. Now, of course, you need to kind of back it with the fact that you can be there. But that is one thing that I think worth considering. Another thing here is that you are applying to positions. We are at Merch, okay? And you started, I think you mentioned January?
In January, what? I didn't guess. Hear you.
When did you start applying?
Yeah, in January for full time.
In January. Your graduation is May 25, so you're not available. So there are two problems here. First, you're not positionally available because you are in Fullerton. Second, you're not time available, like temporal available, because it says May 25. Okay?
Yeah.
So that could be something, you know, of a challenge. Kind of thinking about this for people. So I think that all of those things together, by the way, here you see the relevant coursework indentation is off. That's kind of another thing it's just, again, kind of the professionalism of how it look. Couple of other things. You said that you're applying to AI, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You highlight things that have nothing to do with AI. In your technical skills. Like JavaScript, like you have like HTML, CSS. So one of the things that I would say is if you want to commit to a certain path, expand on things on that path, and reduce things on other paths. That's something that is quite useful. So for example, if somebody says, you know, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, one of the assumptions they might have is like, okay, maybe you do front end, right? So that's another thing to think about. Now, the work experience, if you go down to the work experience.
Yeah.
By the way, there is a bit of a back talk on your side, so if you can kind of mute in between.
Sure.
Yeah. If it's too difficult, that's okay.
Yes.
So another thing, your work should be large because it's your work for 2 years. Okay, it's more than like small 3 bullets. And I think that when I see your work, I think that overall the experience is worth mentioning, and I think expanded that because you have 2 years of experience would give you a significant edge. So maybe to summarize, I think that you have experience that should get you much more than 1 in 300 recruiter calls.
Okay.
I think your resume is lacking, but it's not a big deal. You can always rewrite it. It's much harder to rewrite experience, like real experience, than rewriting a document, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I have a couple of resources on the site, so you can also check that for resume rewrite.
Yeah.
And I think that yeah, that's kind of what I see. I think the resumes, I think that you have issues in conversions, and I think that this or a similar resume, if you submit it, and I had like 1,000 more candidates, 2,000 more candidates, like that's not going to be my top 1% that I call for an interview.
Okay. I have a small question.
Sure.
Like you mentioned that you can write open to relocation over here. Like then where should I mention it? Like in the education section itself? Will it be like okay? Or like
Some people put it next to the location, so you don't need to put a zip code. You can just, because nobody's using it, you can just say open to relocation or willing to relocate or something like that. Or put the location of the place that you're willing to relocate to. Like if you say, okay, I'm going to move to Mountain View, once I get an offer or once I have an interview, then do Mountain View. Remember, as long as they don't need to relocate you and you're available immediately for work, like they don't care. Now, the fact that you're still at Fullerton is a bit more challenging because you are at Fullerton and you are not available. So that might just say, looking to relocate or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate, and like I will really work on it. And like small thing, like as it was for full stack software engineer, like I keep on alternating as I mentioned. So that's why I mentioned front end and all over here.
Yeah, I think that going after something like an AI is good. Full stack engineer is too big. There's way too much there. You have to like pick something, because if you pick something, you have an edge. Imagine that you're a full stack engineer and you're applying for a database job. Okay? Database optimization. And there is another person who's a full stack engineer, but he writes that he actually wants to do database optimization, and he highlights in the resume optimization. Now, performance optimization, there are many roles. So it's not like you're limiting yourself too much. And you can always have more than one resume. But the point is that who's more likely to be invited for an interview? A software engineer that highlighted their experience and desire to be in performance optimization applying to a database, or somebody who's a generic software engineer. Now, generic is perfectly fine in a strong market. The market that we're currently in is very weak, so specialization wins. Okay, and I wish you all the best and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Isona. Appreciate it.